Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to sift through the sources, find the key insights, and, well, make sense of it all for you. Today, we're diving into the life, the journey of Mark Zuckerberg. He's the guy who really changed how we all connect.
And our goal here is to really unpack his story, from being this curious kid playing with code right up to being the CEO of Meta. But we want to go deeper than just, oh, he had vision, he was persistent. We'll look at the controversies, the big changes he went through, and why he's just become such a major figure, probably one of the most influential this century.
Okay, let's get into it. So, Mark Elliott Zuckerberg, born May 14, 1984, White Plains, New York. He grew up nearby in Dobbs Ferry with three sisters. And it sounds like a pretty supportive home environment, right?
Yeah.
Very academic. His dad, Edward, was a dentist, and his mom, Karen, a psychiatrist. You can kind of picture that household focused on thinking things through.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how early his knack for tech showed up. Really young. He was just super into computers, programming. I mean, there's this story, right? At only 12 years old, he creates this messaging program, calls it ZuckNet. It was basically a simple network for his dad's dental office, letting the computer at the front desk talk to the one in the back.
Wow, 12. So like a mini office chat system.
Exactly. Pretty advanced stuff for a 12-year-old back then. It showed he already grasped these core ideas about networks.
And his parents saw this talent. They didn't just say, oh, that's nice. They actually hired a private computer tutor for him. That's real support. Even in high school, he wasn't just, doing homework. He was building games, apparently just for fun.
And he even made some kind of early music app, sort of predicting things like Spotify.
Right. It's like he could already see where things were headed. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How much that early passion, plus having the space and support to actually build things, can set the stage for something huge later on. It's not just about having the idea. So that exploration path leads him to Harvard. He enrolls in 2002. And he studies psychology and computer science.
Yeah.
That's a telling combination.
It really is. Suggests he was interested in how people work just as much as how machines work. And at Harvard, he starts building things almost immediately. There was Course Match, pretty useful, helped students pick classes. But then there was Face Mash. Uh-oh.
Ah, yes, Face Mash. That was the one. The controversial one, right?
Yeah.
Rating student photos for attractiveness.
That's the one. Got him in a fair bit of trouble with the Harvard administration, as you'd expect. But controversy aside, it proved something pretty crucial. Mark knew how to get people's attention online, really get it. Viral engagement, before that was even really a term.
Okay, so it got attention, but was it just about being provocative? Or was there something deeper, maybe about people wanting to be seen online?
That's a great question. I think it was more than just shock value. Face Smash, even with its issues, tapped into this fundamental human thing about presenting ourselves, comparing ourselves, connecting socially, even digitally. People wanted these online spaces, even if they were a bit rough around the edges. That insight was key.
So, learning from Face Smash, I guess, he moves on. And 2004 becomes the big year. Launches the Facebook right from his dorm room.
Yep. Initially just for Harvard students. Create a profile, add friends, send messages. Simple stuff, really. But it just exploded. Within, 24 hours, something like over 1,000 students signed up.
1,000 students in a day. That's wow.
It just caught fire, spread to other colleges like crazy Stanford, Yale, Columbia, then eventually, boom, open to everyone. Becomes the Facebook we all know. And it's funny, he said later, when I was in college, I never thought I'd be running a company. I just wanted to build something cool.
I love that quote. It really speaks to how sometimes the biggest things start small, driven by curiosity, not some grand plan. Makes you wonder, how many other cool projects could spin out into something unexpected?
Well, it spun out fast. By 2005, they got their first major funding, a big chunk, $12 million from Excel partners. That really fueled the growth.
And that's when he makes the big leap, right? Drops out of Harvard, moves the whole operation to Palo Alto. Full commitment.
Full commitment. And the growth was just relentless. In only a few years, it becomes the biggest social media platform on the planet. Fast forward to 2012, it's got over 1 billion users.
1 billion. Just let that number sink in.
And they go public, huge IPO, made Zuckerberg one of the youngest self-made billionaires ever.
The speed of that scaling is just mind-boggling. Think about the sheer volume of human connection, or at least interaction, happening on that one platform.
And today, Facebook, Meta now, has something like 3 billion monthly active users.
3 billion, good grief.
But, it wasn't all just smooth upward climbing. There were bumps. Big bumps. Early on, there was that lawsuit. The Winklevoss twins, fellow Harvard students, claimed he'd stolen their idea for a similar site.
Right, I remember that. How did that end?
They eventually settled. It cost Facebook, or Zuckerberg, around $65 million in cash and stock, a pretty significant settlement.
Okay. And then later, the criticisms got much broader, didn't they?
Right.
Especially around user data.
Oh, yeah. Much broader, much louder. It all kind of blew up with the Cambridge Analytica scandal. That was 2018. It came out that data from millions of Facebook users had been improperly harvested, used for political advertising, without people really knowing or agreeing to it.
That was huge. It felt like a real turning point in how people saw Facebook and maybe social media in general.
Definitely. It wasn't just a tech issue, it became a societal one. How much power should these platforms have? What about privacy, misinformation, mental health impacts? Zuckerberg had to testify before the U.S. Congress. It put a massive spotlight on the company and its responsibilities.
Yeah, facing Congress, intense public pressure. He stayed in charge through all of it, though. What does that tell us? Resilience, stubbornness.
Maybe a bit of both. Definitely resilience, a deep belief in what he was building. He didn't step down. He pushed forward, kept evolving the platform. But yeah, it raises those huge questions about leadership, control, and the balance between moving fast, innovating, and, the impact on society. These are ongoing debates.
So navigating those storms, he then makes another huge move. In 2021, the company name changes. Facebook Inc. becomes Meta.
Right. Meta Platforms, Inc. And that wasn't just cosmetic. It signaled a massive strategic pivot, a huge bet on something else entirely, the Metaverse.
The Metaverse. Okay, we hear this term a lot. What does Meta actually mean by it?
Well, their vision goes beyond just wearing a VR headset. They talk about it as like the next evolution of the internet. Think persistent, interconnected, 3D virtual spaces where you can socialize, work, play, own digital things, all as an avatar.
So kind of like a fully immersive internet you can step inside, using VR, augmented reality, AI, all blended together.
That's the idea. He genuinely seems to believe this is the next big computing platform, the next chapter, as he puts it. He even said something like, the Metaverse is the next chapter of the internet, and we're going to be the ones who build it.
That's ambitious.
Yeah.
Hugely ambitious.
I know.
Pretty risky, pouring billions into it.
Oh, massively risky. Wall Street hasn't always been convinced, but it's classic Zuckerberg, isn't it? That kind of long-term, maybe slightly audacious bet on the future, consistent with how he's always operated.
It really makes you think, though. What are the implications if he's right? How could this next chapter change? Well, everything.
Big questions, for sure.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Beyond the tech, the controversies, the big vision, there's the person, Mark Zuckerberg, the human. He's married, right? To Priscilla Chan. Met her back at Harvard.
That's right. She's a pediatrician. They have 3 kids together now, and they're also involved in major philanthropy. In 2015, they launched the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, or CZI.
CZI, yeah. What's the focus there?
It's huge. They've pledged billions, literally pledged to give away 99% of their Facebook shares over their lifetimes. The focus is on big, long-term challenges. Advancing human potential, promoting equality. Things like curing diseases, improving education, reforming the justice system. It's a massive undertaking.
That's quite a commitment. And personally, I always hear about the gray t-shirt.
Yes, the famous gray t-shirt and jeans uniform. He said it's about reducing decision fatigue. Fewer trivial choices each day means more mental energy for the important stuff.
Makes sense, I guess. Avoids wasting brain power on what to wear.
It all paints a picture, doesn't it? The innovator, the CEO, the family man, the philanthropist, and the guy in the gray t-shirt. Love him or hate him, critique his decisions or praise his vision. You just can't deny the impact he's had. He's fundamentally shaped the digital world we live in.
Absolutely. It shows how complex these influential figures are. Public persona, private life, the choices they make. It all feeds into their legacy.
So when you look back at Mark Zuckerberg's whole journey, it really is a story about how one idea, if you chase it hard enough, with enough passion, maybe enough luck, it can genuinely change the world. He's been the builder, the disruptor, the leader, and definitely a controversial figure at times.
And through it all, that core mission seems to have stayed the same, at least in his view. Connect the world.
Right. So thinking about that level of impact from one person, one idea, it makes you wonder, what's the next big thing? What overlooked idea or maybe some emerging tech that's just bubbling up now do you think holds the most potential or maybe poses the biggest challenge for how we're all going to connect in the future?
That's a good one to chew on. Something for everyone to think about.